raising concern about the uprising and trying to turn public opinion against the revolt and against how other journalists are reporting it.
Well, it may not be Al Jazeera's fault, but they have certainly contributed to rise in Arab anger. Al Jazeera makes a living blaming most problems in the Middle East on the USA and Israel.
Some observers see the coverage of popular uprisings in the Arab world by US media as markedly different to their coverage of similar events in other parts of the world. This bias is especially evident when compared with how the US media covered popular revolts in Eastern Europe.
Those revolutions, even though there would be all sorts of people, there'd be people on the right, there'd be people on the left, there'd be people who might have been pro-communist, anti-communist, whatever they were, we would look at the people in the crowds and identify with them because they were demonstrating against a repressive regime, so they're good. But when we look at a crowd of millions of Arabs, then we say, well, democracy is good, but maybe not this kind of democracy.
Egypt's protesters are determined to persist in their uprising until they reach their objectives of bringing down the regime. Despite the violent response by the authorities, with many journalists assaulted and detained, the US media has been forced to delve deep into Egypt's internal affairs, looking closely at its democracy, freedom, and the legitimacy of a regime allied with Washington. With headlines like the pro-Mubarak mobs assault protesters under the watchful eye of the army, the US media has had no option